Hey, One Piece fans, this is Chris Bolts coming in with an episode recap and review of this week's episode, a stunning conclusion, Vegapunk's great prediction. Now, before I do get into the content, do make sure you like, share, subscribe, turn on your post notifications. All that stuff really does help me out. Now, all this episode is pretty much leading up to Vegapunk finally opens his mouth and says what needs to be said about the world of One Piece and what's going on with that. We lead off with this walk up here of Mars, Saint Mars coming in and is looking at this big giant room. And at the end of that last episode of 1146, there was some white hair that was swimming about, and it is revealed what is in that tank there. This is actually the entire head of Dr. Vegapunk. We're used to seeing Dr. Vegapunk walk around with that apple top on his head and everything, when in reality, this is actually all of Vegapunk's head. Now, I forgot what, I think he ate the brain fruit, and his head just expands. He's basically the smartest man in all of One Piece, and he was able to cut his head off, create 6 separate Vegapunks, those Vegapunks being Shaka, Pythagoras, Edison, Atlas, Lilith, and York. And York obviously is the one that betrayed all the other Vegapunks because she wants to become a celestial dragon. However, she doesn't know where the broadcast is coming from. It was originally thought that the broadcast was coming from here, but in reality, it is not coming from there. This snail right here happens to be a fake. It was a fake out. My personal belief is I don't think it's being broadcast on Punk Records or Egghead Island at all. It's not even side of Punk Records or anything like that. But that's my assumption right there. These next few scenes, they're not important really. They're just showing everything around the world, how people are reacting. We're currently looking at the hometown of Usopp. That was Kaya there, his childhood friend, who I hope he ends up with her in the end. And we got a lot of other places going around. Here we see Laboon. I forgot this guy's name, but you see Vegapunk's birthplace right here, Baltimore. This is also futuristic. They're reacting, they're responding. We come over here to Chopper's, where Chopper was training. They're reacting to the message. This entire episode, you're not going to get the message or anything. You see Mars right there. He destroyed that fake transponder snail, and we still see the broadcast going out. But this entire episode is pretty much them trying, all the Gorosei trying to find the transponder snail. So yeah, all the Goroseis are just searching this entire island for the broadcast. Finchi, this is Saint Mercury. Still have the T's right here from Vegapunk. Sanji is sensing that Bonnie is in trouble because we know that the Saint Nusjudo, who is Bakotsu, in his Bakotsu zone form, is getting ready to chop down Joey Bonnie because she controls all of the pacifistas. That was the last final command that Vegapunk had put into the pacifistas, because there would be some type of sick joke there that if Bonnie was killed by a replica of her father. And we see Sanji getting ready to come in here and kick that sword away. I'm gonna let it go right ahead and do that. That's the slowest cut, by the way. It was all just to set up this scene right here for Sanji to come in there and kick him with his Bakotsu, Saint Luce Judo with his flaming kick, which really is not all that effective there against any of these Gorosei, because in the very next scene, he goes into his horse form and he captures Sanji with his mouth and is chomping down on Sanji. And the giants are going to come in and help save Sanji from Bakotsu. And Bonnie is she's no slouch. She's going into her giant form to actually get ready to attack. And we still don't have the broadcast. I tell you, One Piece Toei, they really do love dragging this stuff out. Say, hey, if you really want this, you got to keep watching the episode. Keep watching the episode. Don't get up and leave and go do something else. You got to sit right here and keep watching the episode. It's just so hilarious that's how One Piece is. Toei and Eiichiro Oda, they really know how to drag things out. Right here, we see that Saint Saturn has caught up to the remaining Straw Hat crew. And this is a very poignant scene because he's going to recognize one of them. He's going to recognize which one it is. And so is Nico Robin. Nico Robin recognizes the person who is talking, and that one of the five elders. She doesn't know that that's Saint Saturn. But she doesn't need to know that. You see the fear in her eyes and who they're dealing with. Saint Saturn says, this is the woman who Akaino failed to kill, and he is too lax. But we all know the reason why they want Nico Robin dead is because she has been researching the Void Century, trying to figure out exactly what has been happening. She's only one of the few people in the One Piece world that can read the poneglyphs. She knows that one of the poneglyphs has talked about started giving the location of One Piece, and you got to know all the information, especially the red poneglyphs. Those are the ones that will lead to the location of One Piece. Should I say the One Piece or just One Piece? It doesn't matter. The red poneglyphs, and she knows how to read them. The whole entire goal of the Gorosei is to prevent the entire history of the world from being revealed. Itsumade, Saint Mars in his zone form, has been searching all over the island. They cannot find these transponder cells. There's too many there. But like I said at the beginning of this video, I actually think that the broadcast is not happening on the island anywhere. I may be wrong about that, but that's the whole entire cool thing about One Piece, is that you can go in there and formulate these theories and hypotheses. And if you turn out to be wrong, you're wrong. If you turn out to be right, you turn out to be right. And here we're going to finally get the stunning conclusion that One Piece teased at the beginning of this entire video. And that reveal is that the world is getting ready to sink into the sea. And that brings us to the end of this episode of One Piece. I don't know how it's going to sink into the sea. Will the oceans rise? Or will there be very destructive weapons that will destroy all the islands? I think it's probably more of the former. It's kind of interesting that as you watched One Piece, you really didn't see large continents or large bodies of land. They've always been islands, really small islands. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? The world of One Piece, I think, is really just a whole bunch of water with little islands sitting out here and there out in the sea. I've never seen any real large bodies of land, big giant continents that will span from one area to the other over several miles. You've never seen that many adventures of the Straw Hats or any of the pirates in One Piece on big bodies of land. And of course, it makes sense because they're pirates, but at the same time, pirates do also like to explore other lands too. So this is kind of interesting that has been revealed by Dr. Vegapunk, that the world is going to be sinking into the sea. But of course, we're not done yet. We're going to go right over here to the preview, and you see right off the bat, another shocking truth will be exposed. The Void Century. What is the information that we're going to be getting about the Void Century, and also the first pirate, Joy Boy, the lost history, the first pirate. So that's really interesting. I'm really excited for the next episode. This episode right here was pretty much just a lot of lore building, not a lot of action or anything. I mean, we did get some action there of Sanji kicking the sword away, but I tell you, I really think that they are giving Sanji some of the short end of the stick. Basically, when those two giants tied down Bakotsu just spit Sanji out, and Sanji ungraciously just lands on the ground. He doesn't get the exciting fight scenes like Luffy and Zoro does. We need to see some exciting fight scenes for Sanji. Sanji can fight. Let Sanji fight. Let Sanji fight. We also saw some of the action with the other Straw Hat crew taking on Saint Santa to protect Nico Robin. I didn't show that in the video right here, but if you watched the episode, you saw it. You saw it was just basically them hitting away Saint Saturn's legs to prevent him from trying to stab Nico Robin, because Nico Robin is still recovering from her injuries. But overall, this episode was really more focused on advancing the story and world building and building out the lore of One Piece and letting people go in there and hypothesize and theorize about the entire world in general. I'll give this episode an 8 out of 10. Not all of the episodes have to be action-packed, although that action really does help. But I also like storytelling and really good storytelling, and that's what we got in this particular episode. So once again, 8 out of 10 for this episode. Really looking forward to the next one, episode 1148, The Lost History, Joy Boy the First Pirates. What did you guys think of this episode? Were you excited by all the world building that was happening here? Or are you kind of disappointed that you didn't get enough action in the episode? Whatever your thoughts, jump down in the comments. Let's have a conversation about it. And make sure you like, share, subscribe, turn on the post notifications. All that stuff really does help me out. And remember, this is Chris Bolts signing off, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Take it easy.